I want to show you a way to rebuild your voice from injury, from losing your voice from laryngitis, losing your voice from COVID, losing your voice from a cold, losing your voice from allergies, losing your voice from oversinging. Things that you haven't permanently injured your voice, just a way to rebuild your voice. And I know not a lot of vocal coaches talk about this, so I wanted to for you. I'm Draven Gray with Rock Singing Success. Let me walk you through a way to rebuild your voice. I've had a lot of people come to me with those issues. They've lost their ability to sing, or it's gotten a lot harder. For most people, it was because they weren't training correctly in the first place. And I'm not saying they weren't singing correctly. If you heard me right, I said they're not training correctly. Training your voice and singing a song are very different things. They're not the same. Training your voice, you're able to address very specific muscle groups, very specific things going on in your voice, shaping your voice into a different tone, and building the command and control. You're really building muscle memory in your voice that way. Singing a song, you might get better at that one song and still have the same issues in the next. Or maybe you're actually just reinforcing bad habits because you're not training for the correct things. You're just singing over and over. That doesn't mean you're in a good placement. It doesn't mean a lot of things. What I want to show you is once you are injured, once you have lost that, and maybe you've seen an ENT, and I'm not a medical professional. I don't claim to be, but I have studied this a lot, and I've helped a lot of people out with this, and I've worked with different speech-language pathologists or SLPs, or think of them as speech therapists. I've worked with different ones to help build these routines, and honestly, it's kind of funny where all these different things come from. You'll probably be familiar with some of these things just because there have been some other coaches that implement them inside their training routines versus just having it for vocal recovery. So, all that said, I developed this specific routine because a student came to me after oversinging for too much. I think he had gotten COVID several times in a row and just started pushing to sing, and his voice kept getting worse. Or he would sing one day and then the next day not have a voice at all, or it would hurt. And then a couple days later, after finally getting his voice back from vocal rest, it just happened again. If that's you, this is definitely for you. What I want you to start with is putting a straw in water. It is not something I normally recommend doing, but when you need to massage your vocal cords, when you need to actually loosen things up and just overall pamper your vocal cords, this is actually a really cool thing to do. So yes, you could do this for cooling down your voice. You could do it on a day you feel like, hey, maybe your voice is a little tired. Stuff like this could help too. But this specifically, stick a straw in water. Normal drinking straw will work fine. You don't have to use these tiny little stirring straws like I use, where I cut them in half and have this short 3.5 millimeter to 4 millimeter thick. So 3 to 4 millimeters in diameter. They're awesome, and I do recommend you get them. You're going to need them for this. If you don't have it, I have some alternate ways to help you through the first part of this, but get a straw. Get a stir straw. You can get them in metal. You can get them in plastic. Whatever you need to do to get these, you buy it a singing straw. And a couple of my instructors, the instructors under me, have the straw from singingstraw.com. As long as you have a 3 millimeter or 4 millimeter straw in diameter, then you're good. Okay. Put a straw in water. Even if that's the only straw you have, I'm fine with a drinking straw too. And just hum. And make it bubble. Hum through the water. And you'll get these oscillations on your vocal cords that really do massage your vocal cords. It's a great feeling. You might really like to do it a lot just because you're a singer and you like to pamper your voice. But that's where you need to start. Let's do that for at least 2 minutes. Let's wake up your voice, get it moving, get it massaged. It's not loud. It's just making bubbles. And you'll get that alternating pushback of the air that massages everything. So that's just humming for at least 2 minutes. And you'll start to notice things don't feel quite as stiff. That's great. At this point, you might want to try a steam inhaler. That's my go-to. I get I have a tabletop steam inhaler from Vicks that I breathe in the steam for a few minutes and it makes me feel way better. But that's not the same as vocal recovery. So to recover your voice, sure, start with that. Start with the straw in the water for a couple minutes too. And then what I want you to do is go to some big straw sirens. I got this from a speech language therapist, speech language pathologist, Ingo Titze. He calls it the straw exercise. I call it straw sirens or the singing straw. Or actually, not the crying straw. I'll get to that why in a minute. So what I'm going to have you do, get your straw. If you don't have one, do puffy cheeks like you're blowing into a trumpet. Or you have some air coming out of your lips, but you're keeping your cheeks out. So when you sing, you have a tiny bit of air coming out of your mouth, but you're trying to keep your cheeks out, and that regulates the pressure, like the air pressure in your mouth. So essentially what you're doing is you're balancing compression and air support. It's called a semi-occluded vocal tract phonation, SOVT. I don't want to get too nerdy on all this, but it balances compression and air support, which is exactly what you're needing. But by doing it in these huge sirens, like I got from Ingo Titze, it helps stretch everything out. It helps start to build better compression in your voice. And he uses it for vocal recovery, and I found out he used it in his warm-ups as well with his students, so I started using it for that too. And after I started doing that, I realized there are so many uses for singing into a straw and trying to relax into it rather than push into it. So many uses that this thing is like magic. Some others realize that too, like singingstraw.com. Real quick, I want to let you know about our Rock Singing Success community. You want a place to discuss this topic further or other topics, a place where you can improve your voice and your music career with courses and other resources, and even have a community of like-minded singers and rock and metal that are on the same path. Those that support each other, encourage each other along the way. Then join us at school.com/rocksingingsuccess. And that's SKOOL.com/rocksingingsuccess. What I want you to do, puffy cheeks, or with the straw, which is preferred. 12 times. I want you to go at a medium light throttle. Basically it's pretty light. Let's keep it decently light. And I want you to whimper into the straw, starting on a really low note and going as high as you can without pushing. Most people are going to feel this. They're going to go up here. That's high, actually. Most people don't make it up that high. That's okay if that's as far as you can go. But I want you to try to go higher because you're whimpering and you're getting super light. So I talk about these high notes being light and squeaky. So you're whimpering like a puppy. Or you could think of that as just kind of a squeak. And some of you might actually get this, like stuff like that out of it. And that's okay, as long as it's light and squeaky. And I know for those seeing this on video, I'm making a weird face when I do that. It's because I'm trying to stretch everything out and get into a like overcried position while I do it. Because it's a whistle. It's not actually singing. I'm just pulling the glottis, the opening of the vocal folds. I'm pulling that taut, and my vocal cords are coming together to form a whistle tone rather than to sing. Okay, light and squeaky. Even if it turns into air at first, do these really big sirens. I want you to take 12 of them. Do it again. And we're doing this. Okay, try that again. And I want you to realize I'm going up super high. You don't need to go that high. Let it turn into air. And we're trying to get a good stretch out of the voice. We're just trying to get it to, you're really in this whimpery, almost yawn position. Into the straw. So you have something stopping and pushing back. That's semi-occluded, partially closed. And that forces you to balance compression air support. But if you're not whimpering, this is going to be a lot harder. So you need to kind of cry and whimper into the voice, kind of like you're right on the edge of crying. You're going to feel a tiny bit of a tug right under your chin, just a little bit, and you're going to feel that kind of lift up towards the eyes at the same time. You need that position. That actually is a really good singing position. But I want you to pay attention to that whimper, or you're going to get stuck right at your bridge. You're going to go, that's not the point. That's not what we're trying to do. Just whimper it in the straw. So once you've done that 12 times, I would pause this if you haven't and try it. 12 times. We're going to move on to the next one. We're going to yawn. A very whimpery, like a very cried yawn from high to low. And I call it a yawn because it's technically just extreme cry. It's like over crying your voice. But I call it a yawn because I've had some students that when they whimpered, they got too whiny even when they were singing like, hey! And that's not what we're trying to do. We're just trying to add a little bit of whimper to your voice. Hey! So that it helps you get compression in the vocal folds. It helps you get compression in the glottis. It's called medial compression because you're stretching out like a rubber band. So I'm probably going to talk about cry in this episode a lot because it's so dang important. You just got to get a little bit of this in there. It stretches out the vocal cords just a little, like a rubber band gives compression in the middle, just like you can hold something in the middle of a rubber band when you stretch it out. Not that rubber band has a lot of strength to hold, but since you're stretching it out, it's causing compression in the middle, medial compression. There's also a lot cry does for your voice in other ways, but that's not what this is about. This is about vocal recovery. So we're going to yawn very high to low. A voiced yawn, starting with a whimper and relaxing down into your chest voice. Do it again 5 times. Okay, make sure that's really whimpered and lifted up towards the crown of your head. Through an entire breath. Okay, let's try that again. So we're giving you a nice stretch right now. And this is actually getting you to relax and use breath support properly. You're releasing the air instead of forcing it to happen, and you're still getting a phonation. Good. Now let's move on. We're going to do 2 consonants at a time, one voiced and one unvoiced. You're alternating between these. It's a B and a P, a V and an F, an Z and an S, and then just TH and TH. So this is B, P, V, V, F, Z, S, and V, V. Okay, B, P. Let's start there. We're going to go through a full breath of doing B, P, B, P. Okay, let's do it. Full breath, bottom up. Don't breathe from the throat. Breathe from your abdomen. Breathe from the solar plexus. Breathe from your diaphragm. Breathe down and behind you. Breathe from your lower ribs. Whatever gets you to fill up from the bottom up. Ba pa 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 ba pa. Okay, now we're going to do a V and an F. Same thing. Full breath, bottom up. Good. This is just getting everything to start working for you. And that alternating pressure is helping. We're going to do Z and S. That's Z and S. Again, like the others you've been feeling, it's the same position. Just one's voice, one's unvoiced. Full breath, bottom up. That one's lasting a long time. I'm going to stop. Just that's through the whole breath. And then I want you to do TH, voiced and unvoiced. That's th and th, like that. Okay, full breath, bottom up. Okay, to keep you moving, I want to keep moving here. I don't want this to be too long. The next thing I'm going to do, I got from an old theater exercise. I actually looked this up when Melissa Cross started teaching it. She has a very different way to teach this. I actually have a totally different adaptation of this for anchoring your resonance too, which involves singing into one spot and moving through these different vowels, trying to keep the resonance all in the same spot. I call that vowel anchoring. I'm sorry, I'm a little bit dried out today. The weather's been crazy, so my voice is a little off too. So this is actually a great time for me to do this, so you can actually hear when I'm struggling with my voice, just like you're struggling with yours, that things happen. You have squeaks, you get mistakes, you get creakiness, you get vocal fry. I want you to hear that. So let's go through this next part. It's taken from an old theater exercise. We're going to say these instead of sing them 3 times through, increasing speed. This is Monolathafaza, Manalathafaza, Menele Theveze, Monolothofozo, Munuluthuvuzu, Minilithivizi. That's A-A-O-U-E. A-A-O-U-E. M-N-L-T-V-Z. Manalathafaza. Okay. So we're going to do this again. Manalathafaza. Manalathafaza. That's A as in ash. Manalathafaza. Then menele. Menele theveze. O. Monolothofozo. I want you to lift that. Not O, but ow, ow. Like you're trying to lift it just a little bit. Try to whimper. Now, ooh. Monolothofozo. You're going to realize that's not ooh, it's ooh. Monolothofozo. The E is E. Minilithivizi. Manalathafaza. Menalathafaza. Menelethevizi. Monolothofozo. Munuluthuvuzu. Minilithivizi. You're trying to get that away from the throat a bit, more towards the eyes, and then you do it another time through. But to save you time, I want to keep going. Badaga. Badaga padaga. Same. A-A-O-U-E. Badaga. Sorry, Badaga Padaga, BDGPDG, Badaga Padaga, Badaga Padaga, Bedege Pedege. You're trying to lift this just a little bit. Bodogo Podogo, Budugu Pudugu, E, Pidigi, Bidigi Pidigi, Bidigi Pidigi. And we're going to go through that again, just faster. Badaga Padaga, Badaga Padaga, Bedege Pedege. Bodogo podogo, budugu budugu, bidigi bidigi. And as you get used to it, you'll be able to do it fast like that, probably even faster. Badaka padaka badaka badaka bedege bodogo bodogo bodogo. Like you're just able to kind of go through it like that. That's a really good sign once you get used to the different vowels and the different consonants you're trying to say. It's a good sign if you can do it fast. But you just go through that 3 times with that. Then I want to take up the singing straw. We're going back to the straw, and I want you to whimper in octaves up towards the top of your range. You're going to go up in an overcried mix and then try to crescendo upwards. If you can't do this, that's fine. You need more time in vocal recovery. You need more time with the whole first part of this. So this is actually getting a little bit more into a warm-up at this point for singing specifically. So we're going to go up. I'm going to start you lower so you can hear what I'm doing. I'm going... So you're using belt mode. That's what you're going into, more of a belt, kind of smiling or sneering through it a little bit as you go up to the top, and then slide back down while you're still in that more full voice. So you're going up super light, or mix. That's okay too, as long as it's overcried in the straw. This is going to start to rebuild vocal twang. It's going to help you start to rebuild compression in your singing voice. If that's too high, start a little lower. It's fine to do. You're just doing octaves, starting light, going up with a good whimper, going into a full voice and coming back down. However full voice that is, it may not be a whole lot since you're still recovering your voice, but let's try it. Not the most stable thing every time, and that's okay. So if you're already, I'd say women, I would start up here. Okay, I want you to do that a few times. Start to get it to get comfortable, to get less stiff. That you do this until it's working well and it's not stiff anymore. And do it as high as you can that your voice actually works. And I want you to do it without the straw. If you're not whimpering, you're going to notice that's a hard transition and wants to flip. Let's do that up here. I'm even getting a little distortion because I am a little dried out and stiff today. When I got that distortion, I noticed I wasn't staying in a good whimper. As soon as I kind of came a little too far forward my voice and it wanted to compress more heavily, that's when the distortion started happening. Then I backed back off into the whimper a little bit more. That's what I want you to do as well. And then, before you actually sing a song, hold your nose and sing octaves. Let's try that. Or up here. And don't let it go intensely into the nose when you hold your nose. I want it to go to the back. I want it to go to the crown of the head and the back of the head. That's where you want that resonance to sit. And I've actually had some students who were trying to sing this and couldn't do it. They tried it for months. It just wasn't working. They would get it during the lesson, lose it before the next lesson, get it back in the next lesson, lose it again before the next one. And it was just back and forth until I had him hold his nose. It got him to actually cry into what he was doing better. Yes, I'm flipping at the moment because I'm stiff, because I'm dried out, because I'm dealing with allergies, because of the weather changes. I can still sing. I just have to cry into it a bit better to make it happen. Remember that, guys. Remember it. You've got to whimper. You've got to cry. If it's flipping right now, that's okay, as long as you can still get that full voice back. And then try it again a little slower with that cry. And it'll start to smooth out if you get that whimper down. That's the most important part of all of this, is that little bit of whimper in your voice. And that can take you months to actually build the coordination for. Okay, the last thing I want you to do, which is something you should honestly be doing all the time, is a different semi-occluded vocal tract phonation, a different SOVT called tracking. This will rebuild your compression, your air support. I want you to track on an M. That means you're humming, but you're lifted, you're whimpering. It's kind of moving up towards the eyes and in the front of the mouth and buzzing the mouth a little bit. It's buzzing on a nasal consonant, tracking on a nasal consonant, but it's these sinus cavities, not the nose. You're not trying to get all the way up into the nose. It's just the sinus cavities where you can hold it up. It's still that whimper. Let's try that on an M. Just go through any song you want, but start it lightly. And especially if you haven't been able to sing in a really full voice yet, just do this all the time, but do it light. And you're just singing through whatever song. And you're trying to hold that all up and forward, all up into the sinus cavities, all up towards the eyes and into the mouth, or your front teeth and in the whole front part of your mouth. And start it super light if you just can't get that yet. That's fine. It's okay. And we're going to build that up into a full voice over time. That whole thing, take it a little bit at a time. If you get stuck on a part and it's too hard for you to sing it, you've gone far enough. Don't worry about it. So this is vocal recovery. And you know what? I can help you with this more if I have your feedback or like examples of what you're dealing with. And I'm happy to help when I can. Just join the Rock Singing Success community. It's in the links below. And post there, post some unlisted videos so I can hear what's actually happening with you and give you some tips in the right direction. Vocal recovery is no joke. It takes a while to start working, and it builds up slowly over time. So get involved in the Rock Singing Success community on School, and I really hope I see you there. I'm happy to help.